everybody, welcome back to our channel. Got an interesting topic today we're going to talk a little bit about on selling, and I call it Sell the Sizzle, not the steak. And that's certainly something that's not a new phrase per se, but you know, the other day I was looking at something on the internet, and it came across and had a pretty good little article to it, and I was reading it and it made some good sense and just somebody else's different perspective on it, and I thought, you know, that'd be a good thing to talk about. Let's talk about how that actually relates to each and every one of us, whether we're in the lawn business, the landscaping business, the irrigation business, whatever business it is that you're in. Selling is an art form, without question. And you know, we look at selling from the perspective sometimes of, oh, he could sell ice water to an Eskimo. And you know, that's an old saying too. But the reality of it is, when it comes to selling, the first and most important thing in selling that we have to do is what? I'm going to try to make this a little bit interactive, even though we're doing it, you know, in a video format. But just to get you thinking a little bit. What's the most important thing in selling in your mind? And the good thing about it, it's not wrong or right. You know, as you're thinking through some answers or maybe jotting down some answers, it may be a good idea to have yourself a pencil and a paper, because I think you'll find some things we're going to discuss that will be worth taking a few notes on. But, you know, the way I was trained by my father was he'd always ask me, different role play situations we'd go through. But when I was about 17, 18 years old, he'd always say, Wayne, what's the most important thing in selling? And I'd give him all these answers. You know, hey, doing what you say you're going to do, treating the customer right, doing this, doing that, creating a relationship, all these things. He said, those are all important. But he said, that's not the most important thing in selling. He said, Wayne, the most important thing in selling is you have to sell yourself first. You have to sell yourself first. Now, what's that mean? You're obviously not buying your own product, right, or your own service. But what does it mean to sell yourself first? Well, we got to believe, when I say we, me, you, the person in that sales position capacity, we've got to believe that what we have available for our potential clients is the best that is available. And we not only have to believe it, we have to know why. What makes your service better than mine? Or your service better than any of your competitors? Have you answered that question for yourself first, and do you believe it? Because if you haven't sold yourself first, how in the world can we possibly sell it to somebody else? And that's what we're going to talk about today, where we say sell the sizzle, not the steak, and what my take is on that. Because once we sell ourselves, there's two questions that have to be answered for the customer, quite simply in selling. What's in it for them, and how can they pay for it? You know, selling really breaks down to that simple of a concept. What's in it for them, and how can they pay for it? And we're going to talk about both of those things. The what's in it for them is the sizzle. Okay? What's in it for them is the sizzle. Because at the end of the day, let's say we're in the lawn business, right? And we're mowing grass or we're doing landscaping. The steak is all the same. The steak is all the same. In other words, we're all making tall grass short. We're all beautifying landscapes. We're all mulching. We're all trimming. It's what kind of picture are we painting for our customers to create the perceived value of our service. And then once we've painted that perceived value picture for our customers, how are we making it easy for them to pay? And that's what we're going to talk about today. But in selling, there's a few rules we got to take a look at. Number one is never apologize for cost. Know why you charge what you charge. Charge what you need to charge to make a fair profit, but never be apologetic for your price. It took me a long time to understand that. Customer tells you you're too high, you're too this, you're too that, right? We've all heard it a million times. How do you respond to that? And that's what we're going to talk about today. That's part of the sizzle. That's the sizzle we got to sell the customer. Because just because your pricing may be different than your competitor doesn't mean that you're wrong and they're right, or vice versa. We're going to talk about that. But never apologize for your service cost. Once you decide what you're going to charge for something, stick to that price. If the price change, the offer has to change. Because if you don't change the offer and you just simply come down on price, what have you told your customer? You've told your customer that I was trying to charge you too much in the first place. So we certainly don't want that. Because what we want the consumer to feel like from a selling perspective is not that we've sold them something, but that they've bought something from you. It's two different perspectives completely, right? Have you ever bought something and you say, man, I can't believe I bought that? I think we all have. You say, man, I can't believe he sold me that. What's a better feeling for the consumer? The better feeling for the consumer, or you or me, when we buy something is, man, I'm really glad I bought that. That's what we're going to talk about today, is how do we create that feeling that I'm glad I bought that, and not the feeling of I can't believe they sold me that. Because at the end of the day, who's going to come back and buy more from you? The person that's thinking, hey, I'm buying that. I've made that choice to buy, not that they've sold me something. And that takes us to sell the sizzle, not the steak. So what are the things that you can do to create that perceived value or that sizzle for your services? Look at it from this standpoint. Let's say, we're all out a lot, right? You're driving around and you're driving by a restaurant and you go, man, that smells really good. And you're looking around to see what it is. Man, is it that steakhouse? Is it McDonald's? Is it Burger King? Is it the chicken place? Regardless of what it is, how many times haven't we all said, man, that smells really good, right? And that's what I challenge you to ask yourself, is what are you doing to make your business smell good? Oh, you want the consumer to say, look at that perceived value, man. Look what I'm going to get when I hire that ABC lawn service. Or I hire Mike, or I hire Susie, or I hire Johnny. What are you doing to create that, man, I'm glad I bought from them? That's what we're going to talk about. First, we talk about how we create that sizzle. Ask yourself, do you have pride in what you're doing? Do you have pride in what you're doing? Or have you ever caught yourself apologizing for being the lawn guy? A lot of times I see that. We're very proud about what we do when we're around our peers and a group of our peers, but a lot of times when we get in an atmosphere where we're surrounded by other professionals, it's like, oh God, this guy's a bank manager and this lady's running this company and this lady's doing that and this guy's doing that and this guy's a investment stockbroker and I'm the lawn guy. Are you being apologetic for being a lawn guy? And you say, what in the world does that have to do with selling? It has a lot to do with selling. Because if you don't perceive yourself as being a professional, you're certainly not going to put that message out there. We've got to have pride in what we do. And not just around our peers, but around anybody we're around. Because here's something I want you to take away with this. Every one of us as business owners are doing something that a lot of people wish they had the guts to do, but they didn't, and that's start and run and operate their own businesses. Have pride in what you do. Professional results in daily efforts. Pride. It's that simple. Do you perceive yourself as a professional? Do you look professional when you're out working, or when you're out doing your proposals, or just when you're out? Anytime you've got a logoed shirt on, or you're in your truck, or your employees. Do you look professional? Or are you out there with your sleeves cut out of your shirts, or the side cut out of your shirt? You got holes in your pants? No trailer lights. You got 3 wheels on a 4-wheel trailer. We kind of laugh about it, right? But it's realistic. We've all seen it. But do you look professional? Do you act professional? When you're on a job site, how you load and unload your equipment, what you're doing while, say you got at least 1 helper or more on a truck. What are the people that have finished the task that are waiting on the other people doing around the trailer? They smacking each other in the head, they being stupid, or are they looking professional like they're staying busy, whether they're faking out everybody that, hey man, we're just looking like we're picking up on a trailer or doing something in a truck. But we got to act professional. When you're at lunch, are you acting professional? All that's creating the sizzle in the consumer's eye, that's creating perceived value to make you look more professional. So we not only got to look professional, we act professional. Do we speak professionally to people, when we see them? Or are we stumbling up? Are we using, are we sitting out there when we're talking to somebody and, hey man, or I'm not sure, or I don't, or I can't, or are we using words that we shouldn't be using that aren't as professional as other words that we could be using? Because at the end of the day, we're predominantly selling a service to somebody that doesn't need it, they want it. And when people want something, they're willing to pay more for it, just like you are and I am. We need to have water, we need to have food, so we're going to buy a certain type of that to keep us going, right? But things that we want, like that nice big riding equipment, or that nice new blower, or that nice seeding machine, or that nice leaf machine, or whatever it is, that nice big house, that nice new truck. We're willing to pay more for things like that, but we're only going to pay more for it if that perceived value or the sizzle has been created for that. When you answer your phone, do you answer, hello? Or do you answer it professionally? Hey, Wayne's Lawn Service. This is Wayne, can I help you? How are you answering your telephone? And I know a lot of times for smaller companies, you're not in an office, you don't have somebody answering the telephone. How are you responding to those messages that are left? Are you answering with a smile on your face? Are you responding with a smile on your face? Certainly return the calls. All these things are the little things that we can do to help create that sizzle that creates perceived value that makes our service worth more. But return the phone calls, even the ones you don't want to return, right? We'll talk about that in a minute, but we've got to return those phone calls. And be sure, if you're not going to make it, you've set an appointment with somebody and you're running late because you're an owner-operator and you're out there hammering it out and you're trying to catch up because of the rain or whatever it may be. Are you taking the time to call somebody and say, hey, Miss Smith, this is Mike. I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to make it at our appointment. I'm going to be a little late, or I need to reschedule for tomorrow. But make that phone call. We hear more times than not from people that call our service, man, you answered your phone and you showed up. How many times have you heard that from somebody? Man, you actually showed up. That's part of the sizzle. You're doing something by showing up or returning that phone call that a lot of your competitors are not taking the time to do. And after you show up, are you giving your customers a professional proposal? Or are you just taking a business card, for an example? You're out in your truck and somebody says, hey, what do you charge? Oh, here, let me get a card. It's $25 to mow your lawn. There, just call me if I can help you. Do you have something more professional than that? Or are you just giving it to them on a piece? We got paper in our truck, right? We all have paper. We got a route sheet. You say, oh, here, I don't have anything to write it on. Let me rip off a sheet of paper. Here's your bid, $35. Here it is, $35 a week to cut your grass. My name's Larry. Call me if I can help you. Well, what have you just told the customer or potential customer? You certainly haven't created a lot of perceived value, right? What have you told them? You're not prepared. Do you want to hire somebody that maybe is not prepared? We got to think about those things. So have a professional proposal. Have a service agreement that you're utilizing. You can be successful without a service agreement for sure. But there's lots of advantages to using a service agreement with your customers. We'll talk about that later. But that's another thing that helps create perceived value for your service. And are you billing your customers on time? Are you offering your customers an easy way to pay? Remember earlier I was talking about, there's two questions that got to be answered for the customer, right? What's in it for them and how can they pay for it? Are you simply collecting money every week when you go by? And I know a lot of smaller services do that. But you'll get to the point where, if you're collecting money every time from that customer, you end up spending a lot of hours during the week that you could be doing something else to generate income versus costing you money and having that downtime. I'm not saying it's not important to talk to your customers. It certainly is. We got to have that time with our customers. I get it. But we got to be careful how much downtime we're spending in just simply talking to our clients. So don't hear me saying that's not important, because that could be part of the sizzle, right? That communication, that relationship that you have with them. But what are you doing to make it easy for them to pay if you're not collecting on site? Do you take a credit card, or you simply take cash or checks, or let's say it's from a landscaping perspective. Somebody says, man, that's a lot of money. Well, I understand it is a lot of money, but how about if we do this for you? How about if you pay us a 25% down and half of the balance on completion, and we'll bill you the half in 30 days or 2 weeks? Find out what type of payment arrangement that makes sense for them that you can also work with within your company. Because when we got more flexible with how we were going to let people pay us, whether it was with a credit card or mailing in a check or taking a larger landscape job and dividing it into 2 or 3 or 4 payments, we start selling more jobs. And again, what's that doing? Take a deep breath. Come on, take a deep breath. It's making us smell better, right? We're creating the sizzle, where it's that smell going down the road when you smell that steakhouse. You don't see the steak, but it sure smells good. Us giving our customers a payment option smells good to them. It's like that steak option. Oh, man, yeah, I can do that now. I can pay for that. If you let me do that, I can work that right in. That's not a problem. And with all of our businesses, whether we're doing 10 yards a week or we're doing 100 yards a week or 1,000 properties a week, we're always going to have complaints. We're going to have some complaints, right? How are you handling those complaints? You get in from a long day and you look over at your phone and you think, there's the sign flashing that says 16 messages, right? And you start listening to them, and you got 10 of them that are calls, just robocalls, and you got 4 of them that are people telling you, hey, I'd like to get an estimate, and you got 2 complaint calls. Who are you going to call back first? That's what we got to think about, right? Who are we calling back first? Well, realistically, in most cases, the last person we want to call is the person that's mad at us, right? You've been out all day, humping it hard, you're wore out, and now Miss Smith has called about some grass that you got in the mulch, or one of your crews got in the mulch, or whatever the complaint may be, or the situation may be. Don't let your complaint call be your last call. I will admit, I hate calling people that have complaints. But depending on your company size, you might be the person that has to handle it all, right? You get to hear the good, you get to hear the bad, and you got to deal with both, right? But call the people that have the complaints first. Because statistically, if you look it up, people generally don't cancel a service-related business. And I saw this in a U.S. News and World Report article on why people leave a service-related business. It's not because they had a complaint. It's because the company didn't respond timely to that complaint. Think about yourself. You know, if something happens and you're not happy with something, you just want to talk to somebody, right? And the longer you wait to talk to somebody, man, I've had to call them back 2 times. Man, I'm going to give it to them when they finally answer. Think about it. It happens to all of us, right? I'm not happy all the time with service I may get from somebody. You're not happy with service you may get or a product. All you want to do is talk to somebody. So take the time to call them back and resolve the issue. Assure them that, hey, it was an accident, right? Or whatever it may be. We didn't see it like that, or we certainly would have fixed it. Okay? That's all they want is the call back. And then your next phone calls you start taking, you know, if you've been out all day and you've got 4 requests for proposals there, don't start with the person that called you at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and it's 7:30 at night now. Because the person that called you at 1 o'clock, guess what they've probably done? They probably continued to call. If you had somebody called you at 5:30, call that person back at 5:30 on that service request and work your way back the other way. I found as a one-truck operation, that worked a lot better for me, because when I started at the bottom, I was finding out that these people that had called sooner in the day, they had already found somebody. So I started with my later calls and went backwards, and I found I still had had more opportunity that way. Again, that's a little thing that we were doing to create that perceived value or that sizzle for our clients. Something else that you can do to help your company be more professional is utilize evaluation sheets. It's something we do with every service we provide. If we provide a one-time service for somebody, we send them an evaluation sheet and ask them to complete it and mail it or email it back to us. You can do it snail mail. There's a lot of programs out there such as SurveyMonkey or whatever, Constant Contact, where you can email one to somebody, they can complete it, email it right back to you. It becomes a great tool for you, and it also shows your customers that you care about the service they received. Because what we found out, we thought, well, if they're not happy, they won't. They'll call us. That's not necessarily true. Think of yourself. You ever bought something or used a service and you're like, that wasn't what I expected, but no big deal, and you wash it off, but you never call them back? How about if that same company would have either called you or sent you an evaluation sheet that says, hey Mike, what'd you think about that product you bought or that service we provided for you? Show your customers that you care. And what it does for you as your company begins to grow too. You can do it as a one-truck operation, but certainly the larger your company gets, the more things that you can do to help yourself is utilize these evaluation sheets, even for your ongoing weekly maintenance people. Send them out at least a couple times a year to evaluate your service overall, the mowing, the trimming, the blowing. How's our crews? Because what we found it does, it lets our customers know they care. We also ask for a referral every time those go out. And with the other information that we collect from those it allows us to micromanage our crews. In other words, let's say you've got 2 trucks or 3 trucks out on the road. Okay? Well, as your evaluation sheets start coming back and you see that, hey, truck 2 seems to have a lot of people saying the blowing's okay, but it's not great, or the trimming's not good. You know, it allows you the opportunity to not only follow up with your customer and let them know that, hey, I got your evaluation sheet back, and I noticed that you're having an issue with trimming. Could you explain that in a little more detail for us so we can get it corrected? So utilizing your evaluation sheets certainly is an advantage to both you and your customer. Now, how can we incentivize the customer to get them to do that for us, right? Because, you know, sometimes people will keep it short and keep it simple. The old KISS principle, right? Keep it short, keep it simple, something they can get done in just a couple minutes. You don't need 14 pages of information. Hey, how do we do overall? How was the mowing? How was the landscaping? Were people professional? You know, we've got a lot of different templates for these evaluation sheets on our website you can take a look at. But utilize them. Take that information, manage your company, create that sizzle that you care, right? It's about ongoing sizzle that we're creating. Makes you feel better, makes your customer feel better that you care about what's going on. But something we've done to incentivize that a little bit is we ask people, hey, whoever sends these back to us, you know, if we're doing this, say, at the middle of the year and then at the end of the year for like all of our regular routine maintenance clients that we have, we'll give away 3 or 4 gift cards from the group. We tell them, hey, fill this out on July 4th or whatever date you pick, and, you know, January 15th if you're doing it at the end of your season, or whenever you do it, just give them a couple weeks to get it back to you and say, hey, we're going to have a few gift cards we're going to give away, valued at, and pick something that you know they would like. And that we saw a lot more come back that way. Now, for our single services, like people we do a landscape for an example, a paver, retaining walls, leaf cleanup, whatever it may be, that what may be a single service, slit seating, aeration, send those out. And what we do with those is, hey, if you complete this and send us back to it, you'll receive $50 off your next service that we provide. I'm not saying you got to use $50. You can use $25, you can use $100, use whatever you want. But we found that 50 seems to be the number that people will send those back to us for. And also what's that do? That gives them the opportunity, and us the opportunity, for them to buy from us again. So it just shows your customer you care. Utilize those evaluation sheets. And remember, even by creating all this sizzle and all this perceived value for your company and the services that you offer, doesn't always mean that the customer's going to say yes, right? We've all heard no. I hear no a lot. Our sales team hears no a lot. We hear no. You're going to hear no. We all hear no. Just remember that no means not right now. Continue to solicit those same people that told you no. Certainly solicit the people that you have as existing customers as well. Because what do you have with them? You've got a relationship. They know you, they trust you, they like you. Too many times we think about, we need more sales, we need more sales, we need more sales. Well, sales aren't hard to come by when we work with existing clientele that already know us. And that's why it's important to be diversified. And the more diversified you are, guess what we're creating? More sizzle. We smell better than the competitor. We don't want, a customer doesn't want to have a mowing guy, a landscape guy, a fertilization weed control person. Not that you have to be everything to everybody, but let somebody know what you do and what you don't do. But hey, if you need somebody to spray your lawn, Miss Smith, we don't spray lawns, but here's a company we recommend and we work with, hand in hand. Make it easy for your customers to buy from you so they can feel like they bought it, not that you sold it. Do something different and do it better is what it all boils down to. Do something different and do it better than your competitors doing it. Create the sizzle. Take a deep breath. What makes your company smell good? It's the little things. It's the little things that we all do or have the same opportunity to do that separates us from our competition. Remember, profit is not a dirty word, and the way we increase our profits is sell the sizzle and not the steak. Have a great day. Look forward to talking to you guys again real soon. Thanks. Hey everybody, thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave us a comment below and we will get back to you soon. If you aren't already, please subscribe to our channel. Also, go like our Facebook page where you can interact with us and the whole Profits Unlimited community. Check out our great website with all of our 100% money-back guaranteed products at profitsorus.com. And remember, stay tuned for the latest and greatest content from us at Profits Unlimited.